So this is my second video blog, and yesterday after I had finished posting my last one, I went on and checked my bulletins on MySpace, and I saw a bulletin which headline was something to the effect of how to call Sean Hannity at his office. And I thought, great, because I fucking hate Sean Hannity. And there was somebody on there from a website apparently called the manifesto.com. Guy is actually named or calls himself John Connor. I'm not sure if that's his actual name because it's, from the Terminator movies. And he was calling Sean Hannity, and indeed it did show how to call Sean Hannity's voicemail at Fox. Not that that really matters because, first of all, interns handle all that shit. Interns are the ones responsible for, checking people's email, voicemails. The actual stars of the show can't even be bothered. And he pretty much showed how you could call anybody at Fox News, but I'm not sure why anybody would want to call Fox News, because I think any network with, Sean Hannity and Oliver North and Geraldo Rivera on it shouldn't even be taken fucking seriously. I mean, I'm just waiting for the Fox News breaking report where they cut in and say that, turns out that the Contras had Al Capone's money all along, and so that case has finally been solved, and it was all somehow some liberal conspiracy. And but during his whole spiel and his rant to Sean Hannity's voicemail, he kept mentioning something called the Bohemian Grove. So I decided to take a look at his website, see what it was all about. And apparently this guy is like a right-wing Christian fundamentalist, I guess you might say, who he's a big conspiracy nut. And what interested me is that I'm somewhat interested in conspiracy theories, but I really like to see something other than Illuminati and the Bilderberg Group is ruling the world, from a secret government. First of all, I mean, it's all hearsay and just allegation and innuendo. They never really come up with any hard evidence for any of this. Yeah, there were a lot of presidents who were in Skull and Bones back at Yale, and but there's really not much evidence that that's anything more than just a ultra-secret frat club, basically. Illuminati, in all realistic terms, has been dead for a couple hundred years now, and people are absolutely convinced that it's continued on in the shadows for all these years. I just don't buy into it. On his website, he's yet another believer in the conspiracy that 9/11 was an inside job. And I watched some of the videos on that topic, like Loose Charge and some of the other conspiracy theories. And, I'm open-minded. I'm willing to entertain the possibility, but to be honest, as far as conspiracy theory goes, I just don't give the government that much credit that they could pull off. They claim that the government planted secondary explosions all throughout both of the towers, and the planes were, fake, and they just disappeared and spread fake wreckage. I think that gives the government way too much credit. I'd have to go with what Noam Chomsky said about the possibility of a conspiracy theory, that if there was a conspiracy, it just would have collapsed in no time. Conspiracies, conspiracies that big unravel pretty fast. I mean, somebody would have came forward and said, yeah, I played some hand in this conspiracy. I planted bombs. I faked this or that, I just don't. I mean, if you look at some of the other government operations, like back in the 80s, I think it was the late 70s or the 80s, there was a mosque in, I believe it was Beirut, and a few CIA agents who were supposedly no longer, they did it without CIA authorization, which is another way of saying that the CIA said go ahead and do it, but we're going to deny that we had any involvement and you did it on your own. Some CIA agents took a rental truck and parked it in front of a mosque and blew it up to kill this one militant leader. And it was totally botched. I mean, the guy was the last person out of the mosque, and he was one of the people who was completely unharmed because he was still inside the mosque when the bomb went off. But it did kill something like 80 people, mostly women and children. Any kind of terrorist act that the CIA has pulled off, it's been so glaringly obvious to everybody involved. I mean, conspiracies always tend to unravel. They're always botched. It always is somehow traceable back to the source. I don't think they could have pulled off something that major with, and kept it totally under wraps. Really, conspiracy theories, they all work within the same narrow context of ideas. I mean, they're pretty much all universally that Illuminati controls the world, and or the Bilderberg Group and Illuminati and certain other, the World Trade Organization, they're covering up aliens. It's all pretty much the same narrow spectrum of thought of conspiracies, and it's all pretty much speculation. But if anybody out there really has any source of information that they'd like me to consider, I'm willing to consider it. I consider that I have an open mind to certain things, and I'm willing to entertain the possibility, but I think people believe it in conspiracy theories because they want to believe it. They want to believe that, that there's some secret force behind everything and that the history is guiding towards some sort of predictable future. In my opinion, I think just about the opposite is true. If there are world leaders conspiring together, it's because things like the internet and information is so widely distributed and people have such wide freedom and access to information that they're struggling to keep up and to keep people under control. They're behind the curve and they're struggling to keep order, not, they're 10 steps ahead of the game and they're all going to turn us into a population of drones. So anyway, back to the Resistance Manifesto and the whole Bohemian Grove thing. Apparently, this is something out in Northern California where all these rich Republicans get together and allegedly have all these, homosexual orgies and burn this effigy, sort of like the Burning Man festival where they burn this human effigy in a mock human sacrifice. And this guy, because he's a real right-wing Christian, he's convinced that they're all Satanists who are influenced by Aleister Crowley, to make a correction that somebody else pointed out, and that Republicans are all secretly Satanist, and it's just more. I mean, yeah, I don't believe that every political leader that claims to be a dyed-in-the-wool Christian really is, but Satanism, first of all, if there's anybody out there that actually worships Satan, I mean, I fucking laugh at the idea. Anton LaVey, people like that, people who are Satanists, they just, they take on the idea as a form of rebellion, particularly against Christianity. I mean, I'm sure there are some misguided idiots out there that actually worship Satan, but Satanism is just another myth. It's an urban legend. Just this guy, John Connor, calls up like everybody you can think about. Sean Hannity, Bill O'Reilly, fucking every radio talk show host you can think of, constantly, and is constantly trying to ask them about this Bohemian Grove thing, and he's really persistent about it. I'd like to believe that Republicans are really the spawn of Satan, but I doubt it.